We're getting back on track here with Kathryn and Emily, but as you know, we won't stay there for long because this is the Going Off Track podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Going Off Track podcast. I'm Kathryn, that's Emily, and we are finally going racing at COTA. I think this is the race that everybody looks forward to all year long. I don't know if it's just because we're Americans that we're so excited, but I feel like this is kind of the quintessential American racing spectacle coming up this weekend in Austin, Texas. That's completely different from like what happens in Miami and what's going to happen in Vegas. So I'm really, really excited that we're here and it's time, and we're in the place that you just were about a week ago.
I know. COTA's like in my backyard. It's where I grew up in Texas, just outside of Austin. It's like my hometown race, if you will, maybe. Everything's bigger in Texas. They do this race so well, I think. It's very different from Miami. It's very different from anything that is going to happen in Las Vegas. It's very much like America in
Yeah.
Texas. So it is the quintessential US Grand Prix. And I'm very excited. It's also a really cool track. I personally really like it. I am biased. It is, like I said, my kind of hometown track, but I am very excited. Lots of big things happening this weekend. I love the lead up too. Everyone's really like buying into the whole Southern Texas thing. Everyone's social media has been blowing up. I'm obsessed with it. We've gotten great content from all the teams, with having an off week last week. So it's been exciting.
Yeah, from the video clip that Red Bull posted of Daniel Ricciardo, Max, and Checo all together. They're in a band now. To Charles Leclerc doing a very exciting hot lap on the track to sunset, a la Top Gun, and everything that Haas is doing because this is their home race. Like, this is just the content out of Texas has been amazing, and it's only Wednesday, so it's only going to get better.
Yeah, honestly, I really want to know what Ferrari's like social media budget is after seeing Charles Leclerc's video. I was like,
Yeah,
interesting. But no,
they're really bringing it.
they got to. They have to maybe they're paying their social media people and they're just hiring anybody for a strategist. Maybe that's what's going on here. We have solved it again on the Going Off Track podcast. We have solved Ferrari's issues. They just need to move all of the money for funding for social media to strategy, and then maybe something will happen.
Yeah,
Maybe.
well, I mean, they did have Carlos as their lead strategist
You're
in
right.
the garage in
And they're just
Qatar.
saving money there.
Yeah,
Two jobs by one person, and the car just retires, doesn't have to go around, the track, and no cause of or possibility of damage. Like, they're just saving money at this point.
yeah,
Look at them. Maybe Haas
so
needs to
smart.
take a page from this book to save some money, so they can go back to their six-seater on the pit wall next year. Can you imagine Magnussen calling strategy for like Hulk?
Oh my
Absolutely not.
God.
I
Hulk,
would
drive
love it.
into his back
No,
wing.
no.
I'm
Punch
not gonna
door.
do it.
Punch door.
Oh my God. Yeah, that.
Oh,
Oh my God. Yeah, that's too
love
funny.
it. Love the things that we can come up and dream about. Oh man. Well, on that note, I think we can get into the news of this last week and the week before, because we did have an off week. Again, I don't know why I'm here because we don't have contract news, but we do have some other fun things happening. One of these days, I will be able to announce who has the contract, who has the seat for Williams, but we'll get there eventually.
Not yet.
I know. But Mercedes is bringing some upgrades to Austin as part of their development for the 2024 car. So that'll be kind of exciting to see if it's, an upgrade or if it's not, working
Yeah.
towards the 2024 car. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to do anything, but they are bringing upgrades.
No, their senior. I think he's their senior tech director, James Allison. I read an article and he said like this isn't gonna leapfrog us over Max,
Yeah.
but this is gonna get us towards being more competitive because obviously Mercedes hasn't been performing the way that they've expected to be performing since the regulation change in 2022. So this is their attempt to get back to where they used to be in 2020, 2021, all those years past when they won all those drivers championships and constructors championships.
Yeah. No. It's like I said, it'll be interesting to see where they actually end up because remember when Aston Martin thought they were bringing upgrades and they didn't?
And it didn't work.
Oh, yikes. But
Oops.
I think it's always interesting when we have, new pieces of the car on the grid. So excited to see what happens there with Mercedes. Haas is also changing up their car a bit this weekend, but nothing on in the car, just on the car. They have a special America, let's say, livery. It's very like decked out. We are an American team, and their suits as well are very like, hello, we are America.
Yeah.
It's very like Captain America, Stars and Stripesy. It's kind of fun though. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool to like change it up. A bunch of the drivers have special helmets for Texas as well, and for U.S. Grand Prix. I almost said American Grand Prix. Ooh, U.S. Grand Prix.
Speaking of, I think Daniel Ricciardo's helmet this week is actually a little scary.
Oh, is it? I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, just yeah. I mean, just like looking at it at first glance, it's like it's the honey badger, but like as a cowboy, and I
Oh,
was
wait,
like,
yes, yes, yes. I did see
I
this.
was
I
like,
did see
oh
this.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. So
I
I was like, oh, that's a little terrifying.
no. Mm, mm, yeah.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah. Um, but I love when all the drivers mix up their helmets. It's really cool. Zhou Guan Yu's helmet's pretty cool. Did you see his?
Oh, his looks awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super, super cool. But again, he is just like killing it on the fashion game this year, stepping it up. Last year he was a rookie,
Yeah.
played it safe. This year, like every single day, showing up to the track, killing it, giving Lewis a run for his money. And all of his helmets are super cool too, which doesn't surprise me. I'm obsessed.
Oh,
Like, hats
absolutely.
off to him.
Yeah. His
Love.
his fashion has been flawless this season.
Flawless. Flawless. Really impressed with him. But yeah, so to come back to Haas, they do have a special livery. Red Bull also has one. So they just recently revealed earlier today, so we're recording Wednesday, so just this afternoon, evening, depending on what part of the world you live in. They did reveal their Austin Bull livery, which was designed by the fans. So that's kind of cool. Red Bull always, or not always, but Red Bull will sometimes have fans design liveries. Last year, they had a fan design one for Miami, or was that this year?
That was this year, but it also
This
looked
year. Oh
really
my
cool.
gosh. It was so long ago. Which was a really cool one. So I
I
think it's
know.
cool that they, have fans get involved and design the liveries. Love that. So take a look at that. It's another, race weekend where we don't know who's driving. The Williams car is also going to be changing because their golf livery is gone, so they're back to their original livery. So have fun seeing who's on track this weekend.
Yeah.
But that's it for change ups.
Actually, because you said that the Red Bull, the new Red Bull livery and the Haas livery, like don't look identical because the Red Bull has a lot more like blue on it than the Haas does, but they're still like pretty
Very
similar. And if it
similar.
weren't for like the typical Red Bull stuff on the front, I think it would be a little challenging to actually see which car is which. But at the same
Yeah.
time, these cars are driving very, very fast. So just, you're not going to have any idea who's on the track and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Good for us. Well, okay, taking a step back, I'm pretty sure we could guess like it wasn't Mags or Hulk leading the pack. It's most likely Max.
Oh, well, yeah.
So based
Yeah.
on position, but yeah, no, I know what you mean. Um, some
Yeah.
other cool news coming out, and honestly, I thought this was like not real because of just who it included. But
Yeah.
Alpine is getting some new investors. So I don't remember if we reported on it on this podcast or if it happened before we started this season, but Alpine had a large investment group that bought into Alpine this summer, which included Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney, and Michael B. Jordan. And they've also added another investor group, which has like crazy celebrities. There's like Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rory McIlroy, Anthony Joshua, and then some other like soccer football players from the UK and Spain, and some other sport investors as well. So it's like this huge big group really buying into Alpine, which I think is interesting because all the other teams are not necessarily like this branded with celebrity. So it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what comes from this next year from Alpine.
Yeah, well, my first thought is that their investor meeting next year is going to be crazy, but also crazy difficult to schedule with how busy every all these people are. But I also think that it's really interesting that Travis Kelce is one of these investors because Travis Kelce is currently dating, allegedly, maybe sort of, or is hanging out with and having special time and making out at SNL after parties with Taylor Swift, who, of course, we all know was attached in the media and clearly was not actually dating Fernando Alonso. But that
Who
gave us a
drive
lot of entertainment for a week. So I think that it's great
who
that, like,
drove for
of course,
Alpine
Taylor Swift
last
isn't.
year.
Yes, that too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just absolutely wild. But yeah, so we'll see what comes from that. Again, like I want an invite to this investor meeting because it seems like it's just
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be a blast. So I don't know. But
So in other news, because like this has been a week for news, McLaren has signed its first female driver to their development academy. So this is F1 Academy's driver Bianca Bustamante, who also drove in the W Series, I believe, is now a part of the McLaren driver development program and is their first female race car driver that they've signed, which is really exciting and really timely considering we just released our F1 Academy F101 episode a couple of days ago, which you can, if you are watching this on YouTube, you can click in the top corner and it will take you to that episode. And also the F1 Academy finale, as you all know, if you've been listening to us the last couple of weeks, is this weekend at COTA and will be broadcast internationally, so you can watch it on your favorite sports network. And we will have a full season recap for you next week. And also really quick to note that they released their schedule for the 2024 season this week as well. They've got another 7 weekends, 3 races each, and they have officially moved their finale from just anywhere on the calendar. And now that these are all going to be F1 support races, they've moved their finale to the F1 finale in Abu Dhabi for next season. So it's going to be a whole big, really exciting weekend for finales next year.
yeah, I'm
Um,
so excited they
mm,
did, sorry. I love that they did that and like
you're good.
they structured the schedule to really work together. So it truly is like a support series and we get their finale with F1 finale and it's going to be like a big thing. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Especially if they, like we talked about in the F1 Academy episode, if they have, you know, an easy ability to stream the F1 Academy races, then it'll be really great. Because right now you don't have any opportunity to watch live until this weekend. So next year to have the opportunity to hop onto F1 TV to watch the F1 Academy race and then hop on to, you know, ESPN in the States to watch the F1 finale, that could be a really great weekend for, you know, Formula One and the brand as a whole.
Yeah, definitely.
Another really cool thing, and I am not a golf fan, but this is still really, really exciting, is Netflix has announced a new it's called the Netflix Cup, also known as Swing to Survive, which is their live golf tournament that they will be streaming the week of the US Grand Prix in Vegas on November 14th. So 4 Formula One drivers are going to be teaming up with 4 golfers who are partaking in Netflix's show Full Swing. And they're all going to team up for an 8 hole match play, and then the top 2 teams will advance to the final hole for the first annual Netflix Cup title, it's going to be really cool. And, I'm not much of a golf fan, but I'll throw that on for a couple hours in the background and see what kind of antics we get, especially when we have, the Formula One golfers are Alex Albon, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, and Pierre Gasly, who all love golfing. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a really entertaining show.
Oh, I'm so excited. Well, I'm just gonna call it now. Like, we can do predictions for this if we want to, but Carlos and
Oh
whoever
yeah.
his partner is are gonna win. Like, Carlos is such a good golfer. He golfs all the time. He golfs in like all of the pro-ams he can. He golfed in the pro-am Ryder Cup. Like, this guy loves his golf, golfs all the time. Calling it right now. Carlos and partner are gonna
You know,
win.
I have to push back because yes, I will admit Carlos is a really great golfer, does golf all the time, but so does Lando. Like when Lando's not driving, he's driving a golf ball.
Well, but so is Carlos. And when Carlos did an interview recently about his golfing, and he's like, "Oh, well, I will now golf with Lando because he's now getting to a level where like I will golf with him." So I don't know. Maybe. You never know. You never know. Don't know whose head's gonna be
I
in the
think we can
game.
easily see I think we can see them as the top two.
Oh, for sure. They'll go to the playoff, which will, bromance reunited. I'm here for it. We all
Oh yeah.
love them. But yeah. So no, it's really cool. When I saw that come out like this weekend or whatever, or 2 days ago. I don't know
This
what day
morning.
it is. Oh my God. We had a long weekend in Argentina. We had Friday and Monday off. I don't know what day it is, what time zone I'm in, like which way is up. I am so discombobulated. Apologies to everybody. God, it's gonna be another Scooby-Doo episode, I swear. But, okay, so it came out this morning and I was really excited. So there we go. I've watched it like a million times, the promo. Maybe that's why I thought it came out much later than this morning, but anyways,
Also, time is weird like that.
oh God, time is the worst. I hate it. Um, Anywho, something else that came out this week. Well, not came out. It's been circulating all, I don't know, the last few weeks. It's definitely rumor mill central. Nothing is confirmed, but I would like to highlight personally, just some of the, noise coming out of the Red Bull camp. I think it's really interesting how they won the constructors, they won drivers championship, and it just seems like their house is not in order and everything is awry and someone is burning constantly and everything's on fire. It came out,
Yeah.
or it's been out, that like Checo was potentially retiring, but that was debunked by his PR person. But then he's been warned that he needs to really get it together. He has to finish P2 in drivers championship by the end of the year, or like he's gone, his contract, they'll get rid of him, just like they did Daniel Ricciardo, or McLaren did with Daniel Ricciardo last year. Like all of this stuff circulating. Again, I don't think this is great for Checo. The pressure has not been good for him. Double DNF. And I just think like this is a lot of swarming around him, and that has to be so much pressure. I don't actually know which way is up on this, but I think it's important to highlight that his seat, to me, is in jeopardy.
Yeah, I really think that if he doesn't finish P2 in the standings, then that's a really big problem for him. And I think that, he has definitely not been performing as they are expecting in the second Red Bull car. Last year he tried to put up a fight for the championship and then Max ran away with it. And this year there was no fight. So I really think that his future in Formula One is really going to hinge on if he finishes P2 in the standings or if he doesn't. And if not, I think we're going to be seeing Liam Lawson on the F1 grid full time a lot sooner than everyone expected. Unless you're
Yeah.
expecting him to be in the car in 2024.
Unless you're me and you called
And
this.
you.
If I call this, Catherine, oh man,
Yeah.
killing it.
We'll find the clips.
We will. We'll run it back. Poor Checo. I feel bad now. I feel like this is all my fault. Actually, I don't. It's
I
fine.
mean, it's really it's definitely a lot of pressure. I mean, and it's also, kind of similar to the situation that Logan Sargent's in because he has, James Vowles has talked, until the cows come home about, that he has to meet a certain number of metrics in order to
Right.
get the seat for next season, and they're waiting for the end of the year. And then you've got Checo, who, he's got to meet some metrics, and then they'll decide at the end of the year. So it's a very similar situation, even though it's not technically supposed to be a similar
Yeah,
situation.
it's very much like if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Like you're a Formula One driver. If you can't handle the
Yeah.
pressure, if you're not performing, you don't deserve the seat, get out. Next person up will. And like they'll take advantage of the opportunity. And like I understand it's like sad and we, for whatever, we all love these drivers. It's sad to see people go and the turnover. But at the end of the day, like if they can't perform their job, someone else can. Moving on.
Yeah, and I also think that they have a viable replacement for Perez.
And if
Say
didn't,
what
I
you
think it
will
would be
about
different.
Ricardo. Exactly. The fact that we have Ricardo, he's going to have the next 5 races to get used to driving this really mediocre AlphaTauri, that will be named something else next season. If they need to put him in the Red Bull car, I mean, he's already proved, from the simulator that he can drive the Red Bull car.
Yep.
So I think that if they didn't have a Daniel Ricciardo available, then this wouldn't even be a story because they wouldn't have anyone else.
Exactly. Completely agree with you, Kathryn. Um,
Yeah.
the other thing I would just like to highlight, which again, don't know if this is true or not, very 100% rumor mill, but I think it's funny, is that Christian Horner's like trying to oust Helmut Marko and take full control of Red Bull. Again, some of these headlines that I see come out are just wildly absurd, but he has been maybe a little controversial this year, maybe not super helpful in all areas and just a little bit. But he is like helmet at the end of the day. So I don't know. It's just interesting to see that come out after everything that we've talked about helmet this year. So interesting
Yeah.
developments there. TBD on what's going to happen with Red Bull. But again, they keep winning, but it seems like their house is just on fire. So, anyways. That's all I
Yeah,
have
like
to say.
50% of the house is not doing so hot. Obviously, Max's side of the garage is firing on all cylinders and then some.
How many weird isms or like analogies can we fit into one episode? Like cows come home, house on fire, burning on all
So many,
cylinders.
all of them. Yeah.
The
So moving on
episode.
from news of the week, because we've had so much news of the week, let's talk about the U.S. Grand Prix. So the U.S. Grand Prix has been held in the United States under that name. Technically, they're all kind of under the same umbrella since 1908 in a number of cities. Obviously, we have Miami, Vegas, and Austin on the schedule now. Phoenix, where I live, there used to be a Grand Prix in the early 2000s. Indianapolis, or not the early 2000s, in the 90s. Indianapolis, which was in the early 2000s, which will probably never be hosted in Indianapolis again after what happened in the 2005 US Grand Prix, which one of these days we will do a full episode in F101 breaking down exactly what happened and why it was such a mess. But this is the 75th Grand Prix to take place in the United States. COTA itself, the Circuit of Americas, has been used by F1 for the US Grand Prix since 2012. Most wins as a driver has, of course, been Lewis Hamilton. Most wins as a constructor for anything that has been named or referenced as US Grand Prix is Ferrari. They've got 10. And unfortunately, it's a sprint weekend. And I hate it.
We hate it. We don't like it. It needs to change. We've decided that it's changing. Please see
Yeah.
our Qatar Grand Prix recap. And that's all we have to say about sprints.
Yeah, well, the other thing that we can say about this, and that is a positive thing, is this is the last sprint race of the year, so we are no longer going to have to put up with this nonsense after this weekend.
I hate the sprint format, Kathryn. I hate it.
I know,
It's
I hate it too.
terrible.
They hate it so
Ugh.
much. Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway.
So this race of all the races last year really stuck with me, and I still think about it, and it lives rent-free in my mind because of what happened with Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
I will never forget it. If for those of you who don't know, I highly recommend you watch it. They literally flew in the air, causing a crash with each other. Flew in the air. And my very
Yeah.
first thought was, oh, this teammate partnership is not going to go well next year. And look at it. We have like the nicest Alonso we've ever had on the grid, and like, little brother
Yeah.
Lance Stroll on, getting advice from Fernando could not be going better
While he's driving.
Well, yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, the funniest pairing. I never saw this coming, but I remember this race so perfectly, and the like flying car from last year. Also because of Seb. Because Seb led the
Yeah.
race for like a lap or two, like barely led the race, but it did give him his 3,500th lap led in his career. And I was like so emotional watching it, and I was like, I don't want him to retire. I'm not ready. He needs to stay on track. Oh God, but it was
I'm still not
it was a
ready, and
good
he's been
show.
retired for a year
I
now.
know. When he was in Japan with all of his bees, I was like, so you're staying and you're gonna
Come
be
back.
great? Please stay.
Come back soon, please.
Oh my gosh, right? But yeah, those were the two big highlights for me for last year at COTA.
Yeah. Ooh, when Audi comes onto the grid, Audi is German. He's German. Maybe he'll come out of retirement and he'll take one of those two Audi seats.
Oh my God, I
Oh
could
my God.
actually see him and Carlos being good teammates.
Yeah.
Because we all know Carlos is gonna
Yeah,
end up at Audi.
except Carlos is not leaving Ferrari because his medium to long-term plans is Ferrari. Wink.
Okay. Well, I would love to see Seb back in a seat. Lerv that for all of us.
Yeah.
But looking to this year's race, 2023 United States Grand Prix at COTA. We get Danny Rick back, man. I'm pumped. I miss
Yes.
him. So he's finally back. I know it was like, maybe he'll be back next week, maybe next week, maybe next week. Well, he's finally back. His last race that he was in Zandvoort back in August. It's basically his home race, like Australia is, but he, I think, claims Austin as his second home. He loves it so much. His brand,
Yeah.
Ashante, which I'm obsessed with, has a like rodeo Texas themed drop every single year for this race, so he's obsessed. But I'm really, really excited to see him. But I'm also really excited to see how he enters the paddock, because he always like has a grand
Yes.
entrance, and I'm so excited. Last year he entered on a horse, and it was the greatest thing I've ever seen, and I loved it.
And the horse had its own paddock pass. No,
Obsessed.
the funniest thing about Daniel Ricciardo is the summer camp that I work at. There was a staff member a couple summers ago who is I think by now he's graduated from UT, the University of Texas at Austin. And when he's wearing his University of Texas basketball jersey, he and Daniel Ricciardo actually look very similar. So I remember after the summer, when we were watching COTA, doing a double take when I was like, wait, what is he doing here? On the grid in the driver's parade, until I realized that was not the staff member I worked with, but it was Daniel Ricciardo, who just really, really looks like this guy.
I love that. That's so funny. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's so funny.
That's great. Yeah, so we get him back along with his crazy Western
But we also get another
outfits.
thing back.
Oh, I know. I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah. I know, but we have to. So the other thing that we are bringing, and this is not so, this is actually kind of something that we're bringing back from last year's race, but also something that we are bringing back from the race 2 weeks ago in Qatar, is there have been some reported rumors. I read an article this morning in Sports Illustrated, that there could be issues with tire degradation due to the track, which was partially resurfaced ahead of last year's race. Hopefully it won't be as bad as Qatar, because one of the major issues with Qatar was the curbs themselves and the way the curbs are shaped, and how that was just gonna destroy the tires. But we're expecting Pirelli to bring out the hardest compounds to kind of combat this. I don't think that we're gonna see, a lap limit to the tires, but I think that the drivers will struggle. Some of them at least will struggle A, with tire degradation, sorry Ferrari, and B, with just, the grip on the track is going to be a little rough with how bumpy the track itself is in certain parts. So that's going to be one of the kind of big wrinkles of the weekend, is going to be the tire issues,
Well, and the thing
unfortunately.
that sucks too is that they don't have multiple free practices to like get comfortable with it because it's a sprint weekend.
Again,
They've got one free practice and then they go right into quali. So yeah, what
goddamn
a
sprint format.
disaster. I know. We sound like crotchety old men, like, oh, that sprint format. They have
It
to change
sucks.
something. Oh, God. Well, with the sprint format, we do have our extended predictions. So
Yep.
let's start on that. So for sprint poll, Kathryn, who you got?
I have not Max Verstappen. I've got Lando Norris. I think that the McLarens have really been on fire for qualifying. So I think that we're gonna see a McLaren on pole for the sprint.
Funny you say that because I have Oscar Piastri. So
Yep.
hopefully my predictions this week go a little bit better than previous weeks. But no, I think the McLarens are really doing well in quali, and they seem to perform better on sprint days. So not better, but they do really well on sprint days. It's kind of where at least little Oscar is shining. So hoping he
Yeah.
does well. What about your sprint podium?
I've got Max, and then I've got Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri behind him in 2-3.
I love how we give McLaren's like they're gonna get pole, they're doing so well, but they're not gonna win.
They're not gonna win.
I kind of have the same thing. So I have Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri P2, and then Lando Norris. So, um, you know, similar but a little different. And
Yeah,
then we
close enough.
move to our P8 position, which is the last place in the sprint race for you to earn points. You get 1 point for landing in P8, which is different than the normal race, which would be P10. So we pick P8. So who do you have for your P8 in the sprint?
I have Lance Stroll.
I believe you picked him last time too. Maybe.
I think that I did, but I didn't jinx him, so it's okay.
Well, and I actually picked his teammate, Fernando Alonso. So maybe
And I think he actually got P8
P8
last
last
time.
time, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
been, again, time, days, who knows?
that
You can,
seems right.
yeah, I think.
Well, you can look if you're really curious, you can look back at our Qatar Grand Prix recap and you can see what we predicted and what actually happened.
Great plug. Great plug, Catherine. Okay, so
I do
that
what I can.
covers Saturday. So moving to Sunday, who do you have for poll?
I have to flip it. I have Oscar Piastri.
Ha! And I have Lando Norris. So
So we're really going all out for McLaren.
we're papayas now. Go team. We've both
Apparently.
given up on our respective teams and we're just full blown papaya. Um,
Yeah.
oh God. Okay, and then for your podium, who do you have for podium on Sunday for the actual race?
So mixing things up a little bit, not with the winner. I still have Max winning the race. But I have Lando Norris P2 and Fernando Alonso P3.
Okay. Okay, he's gonna get another podium. I like it. I like it. Again, we always root for Fernando on this podcast. We always like to see
Yeah.
him up there, holding it down for the, 42-year-olds of the world. Um, we haven't had a Fernando as this, this old and aging him in a while. So hopefully, we get that this weekend and we can highlight it on our recap episode. So I kind of have a similar one. I have Max, Lando, and then Carlos Sainz in P3. I think he's going to come back after, not racing for how many weeks because he didn't actually race in Qatar. He played strategist instead. So
It'll be
maybe he
3.
still has the strategist hat on. Maybe he learned some things from having strategist hat on. Who knows? Maybe he wants to be a Formula One driver again. We'll see. But I'm going to put him in P3.
Maybe.
And then for
Yeah.
P10, again, the last place where you can earn points in the Grand Prix race. You get 1 point for P10. Who do you have, Kathryn?
I don't know. Who do you have?
I've got Danny Rick.
So do I.
I truthfully, in my heart of hearts, want him to get like P6. I know that's not going to happen, but I want him to come back and just like knock everybody in their teeth and just destroy, kill, and earn points. But if that's not going to happen,
Yeah.
I at least want him to get 1. So he is my P10.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same. I really want him to come back. I want him to come back confident. He won't have to worry about any, scared feelings about FP2 because we're not going to have an FP2 this week. So I really want to see him, come back and drive with a vengeance and just go for it.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then for your biggest surprise, who's your big surprise this weekend?
My big surprise is that Aston Martin, I think they're going to have a more of a bounce back type weekend. I think that specifically, I think Lance is going to start pulling his weight a little bit more.
Interesting. Yeah. I know. It's interesting to see like how big of a gap there is there with Aston Martin. Like I know Red Bull, there's a big gap with Checo on some races, but Aston Martin, I feel like Lance has really kind of like dropped in the standings. But I would love to, obviously see him do better. So I like that surprise. That's a nice one.
Yeah.
I have Haas having a double points weekend, in their home race. I
like that.
I like to root for the home team a little bit. So, will it happen? Probably not, but that's why it would be a big surprise. So that is what I have for my big surprise this weekend. And then who's gonna do a dumb for you, Kathryn?
Well, I personally think that it's going to be Alpine. Obviously, they haven't gotten off to a great start since Pierre Gasly has lost his luggage and has no clothes. So if you see a naked man running around, it is Pierre Gasly because his luggage is, somewhere between, Texas and France. And I think that with all this news about the new investors, I just feel like they're going to lay an egg and it's just not going to look good.
That's fair. Totally fair. I really hope Gasly gets his clothing. I mean, he can go buy new stuff, but I just think it's really funny that he's without baggage. But also, I feel like
I think that Alpine has
private.
plenty of stuff for him.
Well, yeah, but also they fly private. Like, how does that happen? Maybe he's not. Maybe he's flying commercial.
Well, I
and he's
don't-
being eco-friendly, but doesn't he normally? Fly
Yeah,
with
they
Max
they
or
don't
whatever?
always fly private. Sometimes, I mean, it really, you never really know who's traveling with who. But clearly this is one of those rare times that he's flying commercial and probably will never fly commercial again.
Yeah, he's probably talking to his assistant. This is why I don't fly commercial. Oh my God, the number of times I've gotten like angry phone calls from coaches. My luggage is lost. What do I
Oh my
do?
God.
I don't know. Call the airline. Well, what am I supposed to say? Your luggage is lost. Okay. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I digress. So
Happy
come on,
memories.
guys. Happy memories. Don't we miss it? I think we can all guess what Emily's going to pick for who's going to do a dumb. And that would be Checo. So again, with all of this news swirling around him, everything going on, I think it's just too much for him, and I just don't think he can handle the pressure, and I think he's gonna do a dumb. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's something that is really cool that we're kind of like tracking this towards the end of the season, which is the race to 1,000 lap sled. So Kathryn, do you want to kind of give us an update on that?
Yeah, so at Qatar, Max Verstappen broke Sebastian Vettel's record for laps led in a single season at 739. And it's looking pretty likely that Max could be the first driver to lead 1,000 laps in a season. I did some math earlier, and broke out the calculator. There are 325 laps left, and Max only needs 261 to get to 1,000. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this, and we shall see what that number gets to. I mean, there's 5 races left, so we got a lot of time for Max to do what Max has been doing all year, and he's also on the verge of matching the number of race wins Sebastian Vettel has had in his entire career at what, 25 years old. And it's insane.
It's
Max is
insane.
just a phenomenon.
Yeah, I don't want to say freak. I feel like that's not the right term, but he is just a very special driver. Extremely special. It's really cool
Prodigy.
Prodigy, thank you. I hate to see it, but it's really cool to see at the same time.
I don't.
So, and I'm sure every Ferrari fan can, understand what I'm saying when I say that, but
I know.
yeah, it is pretty cool and pretty special to like see it in your lifetime, like an incredible driver like that. So,
No, for sure.
anyways, so Kathryn, do you have any final thoughts for this weekend at COTA?
I'm just really excited that we are putting the sprint races behind us. I think that it needs to go away. It's awful. I hate it. I'm glad we're done. Or
Are
that we
you
will
also
be
not like
in 3 days.
super excited that you have a race at a normal time?
Oh my God, you're right. Yes, I'm so excited that I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. I don't have to stay up until, midnight. I can wake up and it's during the day, and I can wake up and just turn on the TV while I'm just in my daily routine. I'm very excited about this. This is just, it's very helpful for me in my life. Because I'm so busy doing all the things that I do, that I don't have to worry about, waking up at the crack of dawn to watch a Formula One race. You're right. That is
You
important.
just got so excited. You were like, yes, light bulbs glowing.
Yes.
New person. Yeah, no, it's at a good time
Yeah,
for me
pretty
too.
much.
I'm excited. So I feel like for this weekend, it could either go really according to plan or just absolute mass chaos, which I know is really stupid to say because, like, obviously that's true. But I feel like it's not just gonna be like, oh, well, Max won, and like, oh, P2 and 3 were kind of up in the air, but everything else, I don't know. I feel like it could get a little wild.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that, especially because we had such a great race last year, that hopefully it will also deliver this year.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, that's my final thought. So we'll see. I'm very excited for this race. I love this race. Again, biased in my backyard. But anyways.
We're going next year.
I know. We have to go next year. Oh my God. If we don't go, we'll get our tickets through Costco and we're going. But yeah, so up next, we will have our race recap dropping on Monday. It's gonna be a little bit later in the day on Monday just because I am traveling. Constant theme of our life. And we want to make sure we have time to edit and everything. So it will be a little bit later on Monday, but it will come to you on Monday. And then, like Kathryn had mentioned earlier, we are gonna have a F1 Academy season recap coming out later as well because they wrap up their season in COTA. So we will have a season recap for the F1 Academy coming out as well. TBD on the date on that one, but it will be next week.
Soon.
And so, or soon. Let's not hold ourselves to anything. Let's not overcommit. But you will have the United States Grand Prix race recap coming out on Monday. That's been the podcast. Thanks for going off track with us, guys.